Well, what's up, everyone, and welcome to the game of Mercury. Today, we're going to be doing Mercury in the third house. And what happens when Mercury is sitting in your third house in your birth horoscope? Well, what is third house? Third house represents skills, any kind of skills you have, whether it's technical or artistic. It represents ability to communicate. It's a house of communication, pretty much. Whether it's writing, it's public speaking, whether it's being journalist, being in journalism, being a reporter, being a salesperson, because salesperson is a communicator. He sells a certain product, and he's a middleman, and he's communicating to you about this product. So salesmanship comes into play in this house. It's a house of your mental intelligence. And Mercury is the significator of intelligence. It is a karka of intelligence. It's a karka of calculation. How you can define things logically in your head is the job of Mercury. Mercury is, again, communication. It's the exact same thing as the third house. Third house is also your house of your siblings, your close neighbors, your close relatives, your short distance travels. And Mercury is the original lord of the third house because of Gemini. Gemini is the third sign in the zodiac cycle, meaning it's the third house. And so Mercury, who's your communication, who's your ability to, comprehend things, memorize things, logically think about things, is in the third house. Here, Mercury becomes a quick thinker because it's the original house of Gemini. So a little bit shadow of Gemini is there. Each house that's the shadow of its original self. So here Mercury becomes a quick thinker. Like, okay, how do I do this? What do I do? What do I have to do? Who do I have to get to finish things? So this shows a very intellectual entrepreneur. Somebody who's able to handle 10 tasks at the same time and able to communicate about those tasks to his team or to the people that he's working with. Mercury has absolute capability to become a writer, because writing requires a lot of communication, a lot of intelligence, ability to know 10 different things. If you're writing a novel about romance even, and the guy is a mechanical engineer in this romantic novel, you have to know some information about being a mechanical engineer so you can put those things in a paragraph or in a chapter about what your character is doing. So they have the skills of communication through writing. They become reporters. They become news anchors. They become journalists. They become columnists. They make excellent salespeople. They make excellent even lawyers. They make excellent politicians and lawyers. Now, the reason why I said lawyers from the third house Mercury is because, and what I really meant to say is a good lawyer. There are all kinds of lawyers. There's average lawyer. There's lawyers that never need to even talk. They just look at contracts and that's it. Okay. But let's say a litigation lawyer, criminal attorney who has to communicate a message to the jury needs to have excellent communication skills. And since Mercury, the karka of communication, is in the house of communication and is a karka of intelligence, and since third house represents your intellectual ability, it makes this person a very good communicator as a lawyer. No matter if their client is like a serial killer, he may be able to get the client off because the fact he can Mercury's logically put forth different compartments to his communicative ability. He knows when to bring this, when to talk about this, when to talk about that. Where, let's say, debilitated Mercury or somebody with average communication skills will ramble on, will not know when to say what. Okay, but this Mercury, especially if it's exalted, they know, okay, I'm going to talk about his marriage problems first, then I'm going to talk about his bipolarism second, schizophrenia third, and then I'm going to talk about where he was that night when the murder occurred, that. And this will establish the fact that he wasn't there and he wasn't mentally capable of doing what he did. And so this is where that logical intelligence comes into play. Even not even just law, astrology. I said astrology too. Why? Because astrology requires strategic thinking. It requires absolute intelligence of the mind to comprehend everything at once. Here's the thing about astrologer. In order to become a good astrologer, you have to have photographic memory when it comes to astrology. You don't have to have photographic memory anywhere else, but you need to have photographic memory regarding astrology. And I realized I had that. Like, I have remembered every single chart that I've come across. Like, whether it's any celebrity or whether it's somebody who I communicated with on online or people I used to see, if I remember that person and I remember their situation, I'll know, oh yeah, that's right, they had this, this, and this. And I just remember mentally. It's just so easy for me to photographically remember the birth chart. Not the divisional charts as much, but the birth chart really. And that's due to the fact that Mercury is out there helping this aspect. Okay? And remember, third from the Mercury is the fifth house of of learning the ancient texts. Fifth house represents your intelligence also, but intelligence of learning the ancient text. Ancient text is what? The Vedas, Jyotish, Parashtra, Hora, Shastra. And from the third house, Mercury aspects the ninth house of higher learning. And in order to learn this higher divine science of astrology, you need what? A guru, ninth house. So you see how this two things are also seen with Mercury in this placement. Now, here's the thing about Mercury people. Because they're in the third house, since Mercury is in his own house, and he has that shadow of Gemini in that house, these people become childlike. They are very immature all throughout their life, especially if Mercury is debilitated. Here, these people will, if they can be 40 years old, they can be 50 years old, and they will act like that they're children in front of their dad or mom. Like, Mom, I'm tired. Can you please put me to bed? Or Mom, Dad, can you make me some tea? I'm like very much, tired this morning. They always, in their youthfulness, they always feel like they're a child, no matter how old they are. So, and this happens because of the fact when Mercury is debilitated, he's not able to grow out of that childlike situation. Where if Mercury is well placed, or Mercury is a neutral sign, Mercury is able to then separate logically that, okay, I am no longer that 15-year-old person. I am 40 years old. Let me just act that way. And due to this placement, due to their childlike behavior, they get into like all these bickering and fights with their siblings or with their close cousins and neighbors and with their relatives. So this usually happens if Mercury is either damaged in the sign or it's debilitated in the sign of Pisces. Okay, because their maturity is not able to develop. So the communication part with a debilitated Mercury becomes like, it's very much a confusing mindset when it's debilitated, in the third house. Their communication comes out wrong. They want to say something, but they say it in a way that it offends the other person. Okay, and that's how they get into constant fights with their siblings or very isolated from their siblings when it's debilitated. But usually here, Mercury is very communicative with their siblings. He wants to be communicative. He wants to, have a balanced communication. Their intelligence is also supported by their siblings and by their close friends and close, relatives. They develop their intelligence through them. They can become good salesmen just because they saw their cousin doing it and they watched their cousin see how they sell his or her product, and they developed that skill and they took that and they developed their own means of doing business. So here, especially Mercury becomes a businessman, like somebody who made money with their own self-effort, because third house is also the house of courage and self-efforts, or how much effort you're putting into doing something. When you're working, you take orders and then you just do your job. You're not really putting an effort into making that money. Who is really putting that effort is the head of the company, who's going out there getting the business, who is doing the marketing campaign, who is getting the venture capitalists and investors to bring more money in there. You see, that's what self effort means. So here, It's a really good placement for somebody who wants to start their business, especially in communication, like a writer, author, TV anchor, somebody who wants to go in the media business, is definitely a good choice here, unless it's debilitated, because then you're going to procrastinate a lot about your communication skills. Okay, I have a talent of writing. Should I write? Not write. Should I write? Not write. They'll write one chapter, they'll delay it. Then they'll write another chapter after 2 years, and then they'll delay it. So that's the problem. And from the third house, Mercury aspects the ninth house of higher education, of belief system, of long distance journey, as in pilgrimage or just going for vacation somewhere. It is a house of your teachers, and this is why Mercury becomes intelligent. They can even become good, like I said, good attorneys and good astrologers as well, because Mercury's intelligence is now curious about the ninth house, which is learning about the higher self, the philosophical learning. They want to go to a teacher and learn about what their background is, what their culture is, and then this can automatically lead into somebody who goes for their postgrad, somebody who goes for their master's degree, somebody who goes into PhD, and they try to get a PhD probably in communication, But usually the thing is with the third house Mercury, they're very business-minded people. They know the art of calculation. So they're like, look, I can waste 6 years doing a PhD, and I may not even find a job, or I can take care of the same subject, and I can create my business, and I can do this and make money through selling this product. I don't need to get a PhD. I don't need to get a master's degree. So usually you will see people who will either straight go into business, or they will get a higher education related to the product or business that they want to get into. Okay? So guys, this was my analysis of Mercury in the third house. If you're new to my channel, subscribe above. And if you want to know where your Mercury is placed, check out the link below. Check out my book there, Astrology at the Speed of Light. And when you get the book, I will send you the link to look at your own chart. Just make sure you follow the directions on that page below. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Hey, what's up, all you chaos lovers? So make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And please share my channel with all your family and friends who are in love with astrology. Because I'm the man when it comes to astrology, okay? So make sure you do that. And I will see you tomorrow with another cool new video, okay? Sorry, I love my coffee spiked. Woo!